On Wednesday, something was said in a private call that almost no one outside the room was supposed to fully understand. And yet, that single sentence might have changed the course of an entire war. The call included the 7 most powerful leaders on Earth, the inner circle of the Western world, gathered together in a virtual G7 meeting. On that screen were the leaders of the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Japan, Italy, and Canada. And during that call, Donald Trump said something that sounded final, confident, almost like the end of the story. He told them that Iran was about to surrender. Not someday, not eventually. He said it would happen within days. He claimed the threat that haunted them for years had already been removed. In his words, a cancer threatening the world had been eliminated. He told the leaders watching him to simply wait and watch what happens next. But what happened in the next 24 hours shocked even the people who thought they understood this war, because the images coming out of Iran did not look like surrender at all. Instead of chaos, collapse, or rebellion, something completely different unfolded in the streets of Tehran. Hundreds of thousands of people began marching through the city, not running from bombs, not fleeing the government, not protesting against their leaders. They were marching for their government. Flags filled the air. Entire boulevards were covered with crowds stretching farther than cameras could capture. And right in front of those crowds stood Iran's most powerful officials. The president of Iran was there, the foreign minister was there, and the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Larijani, stood directly in front of the cameras addressing the crowd. This is the same man who recently warned that the entire Middle East could go dark if the war escalated. While he was speaking, something unexpected happened. An explosion went off nearby, possibly a missile strike, maybe a drone impact. People around him flinched and looked toward the blast. But Larijani didn't stop talking. He didn't even pause. He calmly said something that echoed across the rally. The people are not afraid of these noises. And in that moment, a question quietly began forming in intelligence briefings across Washington. If this is what surrender looks like, then what exactly is happening in this war? Because the rally in Tehran, as massive and dramatic as it was not the most important thing that happened this week. The real story was unfolding somewhere else, somewhere far from the cameras, somewhere deep inside a mountain. And what was hidden there could mean the central goal of this entire war might already be impossible to achieve. Before the war started, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, confirmed something extremely important. Iran possessed 441 kilograms of highly enriched uranium. That uranium was enriched to 60%, not quite weapons grade yet, but dangerously close. Experts estimated it could take weeks, not years, to push it to full weapons capability. According to American officials, that amount of material could potentially produce 10 to 11 crude nuclear weapons. And destroying that capability was the main reason this war began. The mission had a name, Operation Epic Fury. Its objective was clear: destroy Iran's nuclear program before it becomes unstoppable. To achieve that goal, the United States used one of the most powerful conventional weapons ever built, the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, a 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb designed specifically to destroy deeply buried nuclear facilities. These bombs were carried by B-2 stealth bombers. 14 of them were dropped on 2 key nuclear sites, Fordo and Natanz. The explosions were so powerful the craters could be seen from space. After the strikes, Trump declared the nuclear program obliterated. Satellite images spread across the world, and many people believed the job was done. But there was one problem. The uranium wasn't there anymore. Iran had already moved it. Not after the bombs fell, not when the war started, before the first B-2 bomber even took off. Iran had relocated the material to a location American officials now admit they cannot strike. The uranium itself isn't large or complicated to transport. It's stored in containers roughly the size of scuba tanks or beer kegs, portable, movable, and apparently moved with perfect timing. The new location lies inside a facility carved into a mountain in the Zagros mountain range near Natanz. Construction there began years earlier. When the IAEA asked about the site, Iran gave a simple response: it is none of your business. The facility reaches 260 to 330 feet into solid granite. The mountain above it is even taller than the one above Fordo. And here's the critical detail military planners now cannot ignore. The GBU-57 bunker buster can penetrate about 200 feet under ideal conditions. That mountain is far deeper than that, more than 50% deeper than the maximum reach of the strongest conventional bunker buster on Earth. There is no bomb currently in the U.S. arsenal that can reach that depth in solid granite. No missile, no conventional weapon. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane, was asked directly by Congress why the U.S. didn't strike another suspected uranium storage site. His classified answer later leaked through senators who attended the briefing. The facility was simply too deep. Senator Chris Murphy summarized the reality afterward. Some Iranian capabilities are so far underground that they cannot be reached. And that realization triggered a much bigger strategic question. If the uranium is untouchable underground, how does the war achieve its main objective? For more than a decade, American planners believed they had the answer. Destroy the facilities with bunker buster bombs. The planning was incredibly detailed. 2 officers from the Defense Threat Reduction Agency were assigned full time to studying the Fordo site alone. According to General Kane, they literally dreamed about the target at night. This wasn't a plan built quickly. It took years of intelligence, simulations, and weapon development. The GBU-57 bomb itself was developed largely with Iran's nuclear program in mind. B-2 bomber flight paths were rehearsed. Satellite surveillance monitored the facilities constantly. America believed it was completely ready. But the plan contained one critical assumption, that Iran would not move the uranium before the strike. That assumption is now the center of intense classified discussions in Washington. Senators leaving secret briefings describe the situation very differently. Some say the program is destroyed. Others say the uranium still exists somewhere unknown, and none of them can confidently say where those 441 kilograms are today. The Defense Intelligence Agency released a preliminary damage assessment shortly after the strikes. The report concluded the attack likely delayed Iran's program by months, not decades. Trump used the word obliterated. The DIA used the word months. And the distance between those 2 words is the strategic mystery now shaping this war. Meanwhile, satellite images show Iran has been quietly continuing construction at the Zagros mountain facility. Entrances are being fortified, security zones are expanding, and the mountain itself is being dug deeper and wider. Iran appears to be learning from the bombs that already fell, measuring their limits and digging beyond those limits. Which brings us to the most controversial option, now being discussed behind closed doors. If bombs cannot reach the uranium, then someone may have to go down and get it. Reports from Axios revealed discussions between the US and Israel about deploying special forces inside Iran. The mission would be simple, in theory, but terrifying in reality. Locate the hidden uranium stockpile, secure it physically, and remove it from the mountain, all during an active war inside a country of 90 million people. Analysts at the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists describe the situation bluntly. There are no good options left. Because the other expectation of this war also didn't unfold as predicted. Many analysts believed Iran might collapse internally after its leadership was targeted. Instead, the government reacted quickly. Security forces flooded the streets. Internet access dropped to only 4% of normal levels. Information control tightened immediately. And large demonstrations supporting the government appeared instead of uprisings. Whether those rallies were encouraged or organized, the images still mattered politically. They signaled something important to the outside world. Iran was not collapsing within 2 weeks. And that realization is already affecting countries far beyond the battlefield. In the Gulf region, shipping costs have exploded. Saudi oil tankers that once cost about $100,000 per voyage now cost nearly $400,000. Why? Because many ships are avoiding the Strait of Hormuz. Instead, they travel around the Cape of Good Hope, the long route around Africa. That adds weeks to each shipment, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra cost. Saudi Arabia didn't start this war, but it is paying a heavy economic price for it. And when the war eventually ends, Gulf states may rethink the entire security system that once relied on American protection. Because on day 14 of the war, the situation looks very different from what many leaders predicted. Iran's nuclear facilities were damaged, but the uranium itself is missing. The missile arsenal was heavily reduced, but missiles and drones are still appearing in the conflict. Iran's navy suffered major losses. Yet the Strait of Hormuz remains partially closed, and thousands of U.S. Marines are now moving toward the region to reopen it. Meanwhile, Iran's regional proxy network is still active. This week, an Iranian drone killed a French soldier in Iraq, a soldier from a country that is not even officially at war with Iran, which means the conflict is already expanding beyond its original boundaries. And this is where the story begins to grow much larger than a single war, because military strategists around the world are studying what just happened. They are not only studying the bombs that worked, they are studying the depth those bombs could not reach. China has reportedly begun moving critical assets deeper underground after watching this war unfold. The lesson many observers see is simple but powerful. American military power is enormous, but it has a depth limit. If your most important assets are hidden deeper than that limit, they may survive even the most powerful conventional attack on Earth. Iran appears to have calculated that exact limit and moved its most valuable material just beyond it. Trump told the G7 leaders the threat was gone and surrender was coming soon. Instead, what the world saw was a massive rally in Tehran. A mountain facility still untouched, Marines sailing toward the Gulf, a European soldier killed in Iraq, and oil tankers traveling the long way around Africa. The war's final objective now comes down to one question. Where exactly is the uranium? Because the last strategy available depends entirely on that answer. The uranium is believed to be in the mountain, and the mountain is deeper than the bomb. So the biggest mystery of this war is still hidden underground. And until that mystery is solved, the story is far from over. If you want more deep geopolitical breakdowns like this and want to understand the hidden forces shaping global markets and conflicts, make sure you subscribe to Market Mindset. Like the video if this analysis helped you see the bigger picture. And in the comments, tell me your opinion. Do you think this war ends through negotiation, or does it escalate even further?